Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Mania podcast. I'm your host, as always, the Media Maverick, Mike Weldon. And tonight we're joined by a returning guest, a good friend of mine and of the show's Storm Chaser, Nathan Reno, aka Willie Weather, to talk about the upcoming winter weather for the Deep South. Nathan,
What's
how
going
are you
on?
this evening? How are you this evening?
Less than enthused. Less than enthused.
Are we enjoying the cold yet? Are we having fun yet?
Is it 80 degrees yet? No.
Yes, if y'all cannot tell, Nathan despises winter. He despises the word winter.
Cannot stand it.
So,
Yep.
what should we look forward to with this storm coming our way?
Here, where we're at, lots of ice, lots of freezing rain, minimal snow. And a lot of people aren't going to be happy about that, unfortunately. A lot of people are not going to be happy about that. They already aren't happy about that. They went from, you have so many various sources out there that, some are trusted, some are untrusted, some are this, some are that. And they're trying to some in good faith, many in good faith, some in not so good faith, trying to convey the same message that, look, it's coming, and there's unfortunately nothing that we can do about it, whether we like it or not. In my case, I don't like it. I wish it would just poof up and disappear. But again, you have so many sources that are trying to convey the same message, and they're posting all of these different graphics, making their own graphics, taking graphics from other pages, doing this, taking graphics from one source to the next, and they're posting all these graphics. And with winter weather, it's so hard because literally 1 degree, you got 32 degrees, you got 31 degrees, you got 33 degrees, and it changes the dynamic of the precipitation that's going to fall. And specifically for talking where we're at here in Middle Tennessee, that's the main point of the dynamic is X amount of feet up in the atmosphere, you're dealing with a 1 degree difference, 5,000, 10,000, 15,000 feet up in the atmosphere. That's going to cause it to go from snow to freezing rain to rain, back to freezing rain, back to snow, back to freezing rain, back to rain. And you're going to get such a mixed bag of precipitation that basically nobody's going to know what hit them. I mean, everybody's going to be like, 1 minute it's going to be raining. Next minute they're going to look out, it's going to be snowing. Next minute they're going to look out and it's going to be freezing rain again. And they're going to be like, what the hell just hit me? What just hit me? That's unfortunately over the next, 24 to 48, 48 to 72 hours, they're going to literally look outside and be like, oh my God, it's raining. Oh my God, it's snowing. Wait, whoa, it's freezing rain again. That's literally what's going to happen. And there you have a lot of people where this time around, you can see by all of the posts going through on social media. I was just sent a text message a little while ago from a Kroger. It's empty, so the messaging got across. The messaging did its job. It got across. People panic bought, unfortunately. Was it justified? Is it, the argument can be made, was the panic buying justified, or was it not? Whose forecast was correct? You won't find out until it's all over. We don't know unfortunately, where is going to get that 8 inches, that 10 inches, that 12 inches, up to 17 inches of snow, that half inch, that 3/4 inch, that 1 inch of ice accumulation, whatever. And another thing that I don't think that people understand is that sleet and freezing rain tie into ice accumulation, and ice accretion. They
Yep.
tie in, and people hear the words sleet and they hear freezing rain, and then they hear ice, and they're like, okay, so the ice is what I have to worry about. No, sleet and freezing rain tie into ice accumulation and ice accretion. Okay, so you hear sleet and freezing rain, and it's all going to mix in and tie in.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get a layer of snow, you get a layer of freezing rain, and what does it do? It freezes on top of it and just causes an entire travel mess. And you have people who are still asking questions about, can I do this? Can I do that? And instead of, stay home. Well, so then you go back to the text message that I just got about is the panic buying, justified? Again, we're not going to necessarily know that until we see what hits the ground. And you saw um one of the posts that I made where projection is somewhere around half inch to a quarter of an inch of ice potentially for us.
Yeah.
Um you start having problems with potential power outages, tree limbs falling, trees falling at around a quarter of an inch to 3/10 of an inch of ice. You get up around a half an inch of ice weighing down on the power lines, then you're really talking, you know,
Yeah.
sporadic to starting to get into the widespread power outage range.
Yeah.
So people hear loss of power, and we've gotten to a point in society where people fear that the power grid may fail, and we've become so reliant on electricity and power and cell phones and social media that fear and that loss of power, people
Yeah.
are panicking. People are
Like
panicking.
I went on my way home tonight. I went and bought 3 tanks of propane, like propane tanks from because I have a little heater thing that attaches to the propane tank. I bought 3 tanks tonight.
Blue Rhino stock
Yeah.
probably just went up tenfold.
Oh yeah.
That'd be
So
my
what
guess.
what can people do to prepare for power outages due to ice on the power lines?
I mean, start off with and I know it's not something that people north of the coast think about, but you can go out and you can buy a generator. If you buy a generator, absolutely do not run that sucker in your house. You want to run that sucker in an open space outdoors. It runs and it leaks carbon monoxide. You want to run it in an open space outdoors, at least 20 feet away from the house. Um, but start off with gas products, a little propane grill that runs off of little propane canisters. You can go out and buy a gas grill, um, propane heaters, stuff like that. Unfortunately, I'm speaking from experience here.
Oh, I'm too.
These
I Yeah.
you can go out and they make these little propane camp stoves that they work just fine. You can absolutely feed a family of two, three, four. Might be a little bit of a challenge, might be a little bit time consuming, but
Yeah.
you get fed. It works. You have hot food, and I'm talking breakfast, lunch, dinner every day. um because and this also goes for, this doesn't just go for the winter storm impacts that a really good portion, 2/3 of the continental United States are about to feel, but this also can be used in situations where you're uh, um another sneak peek at another podcast episode that we're gonna do. Um, Windbag derecho events where
Yeah.
you're, prolonged power loss from 70 to 100-mile-an-hour winds, where you're without power for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 plus days, hurricanes, stuff like that. You can go out and you can buy, something that runs off of gas, propane, whatever the case may be, and you can cook off of that. Again, feasible, something that people think of these days with everything, with as much as they're pushing electric, EV, green energy. No, not something that, really comes to the minds of the people, unless you're, an absolute doomsday prepper. You're thinking of, I'm not trying to be funny here, but you're thinking of the zombie apocalypse or something like that. But we're looking at real world problems, realistic situation where this stuff was made for a reason. It's absolutely necessary. I can still remember the first time and the last time I ever reached for a falling uh propane Coleman lantern, where we were out catfishing one night, and it got kicked over, and I figured my dad would be mad at me that we lost it in the river. And I realized why you don't reach for a falling propane Coleman lantern, because I burnt the mess out of my hand trying to catch it. But again, propane, you have light, you have a decent heat source there. um so you want something that's going to be propane, it's going to be gas. Again, like I said, doesn't even have to come into play here for just specifically winter weather impacts, which is the main reason we're here. But little propane camp stove, little um you want batteries, you're going to want flashlights, you're going to want what else? Probably, obviously extra blankets,
Batteries.
batteries, decent, little first aid kit, something to extra wool socks, something to keep protection against hypothermia. You're gonna want, um, I don't even know. I'd have to research if they make portable carbon monoxide detectors. Because
And
obviously if you're running a generator close to the house that's running carbon monoxide outside the house, and it's too close, because I don't think that in a emergency situation somebody's going to go out and measure off 20 some odd feet. That's just a recommendation. Personally, I'm going to put it, if I can, if I have the right tools, I'm going to put it roughly 25-30 feet out. um you see too many people that are in situations that are um trailer trailers, mobile homes, stuff like that, where they've just hooked up the generator, left it inside, and unfortunately, that was just the end of them. They made that mistake and ran it inside. So
another thing you can do to prepare for this storm, make sure you let your sinks drip, and make sure you open the cabinets under the sinks. That way the heat can get to the pipes.
that's going to be an absolute must, because these impacts, unfortunately, it's going to start for a lot of people Friday into Friday night, move work east. But what's going to happen is it's going to get into a lot more of a broad area, a lot more populous area going into Saturday night. Um, but then after that, we deal with a prolonged cold period. Prolonged cold period dips down. In a lot of places, you're going to dip down into the single digits, and that's single digit air temperatures. That's not wind chill. Single digit actual real feel air temperatures Monday and Tuesday, which is only going to prolong the icy, nasty, crappy mess
That
Monday
that's
into
my
Tuesday.
that was going to be my next question. How long do you think we could see travel impacts? Because as you know, there's still going to be the essential workers that have to go out into this mess.
Yeah, the nurses, the firefighters, the police officers, the retail workers, even I've even seen
A
that you've
dentist. I
that
saw
you,
a dentist in the
yeah,
comments.
yeah, that you've got, your dental hygienists and your dentist's offices that aren't closing, stuff like that. And some of these, I honestly couldn't put a number on it, but I mean, at least through probably Wednesday, Thursday. I know that around here, I've already talked to some of the I've already talked to some of the plow drivers, the road crew, TDOT guys, and I know that they treat the roads as well as they can. And they're already got schedules, deviating shifts, stuff like that. Um, as well as they can. They treat the main roads first, side roads second, but they don't have a route for the county roads, the back roads, anything like that here in, at least here in Middle Tennessee. I don't know. I can't speak for other states how they treat their roads, but I know that main highways are the main concern here, and they do a heck of a job. But unfortunately, that stuff, all it's going to do is, if it's still wet, it's just going to refreeze, flash freeze overnight, cause black ice, especially on bridges and overpasses. So it's still going to be a hazard Monday into Tuesday.
Yeah.
Um, and then I think the forecast is going into Wednesday. We finally get above freezing. Um, Still not 80 degrees, but we finally get above freezing. Um, which
Actually,
should
I saw this right before we went live. I wasn't even going to ask you about it, but I'm going to ask you right here on camera. I'm already seeing a page on social media talking about next weekend.
I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming. Yeah, it's possible. I've seen it on a couple of models. Actually, I've seen it for about 10 days, 12 days. It's running around. Still obviously don't know where it's going, who it's affecting, or if it even hangs on. I've seen it dive as far south as the deep south. And when I say the deep south, I mean like southern Mississippi, southern Alabama, um, the Florida Panhandle. But I've also seen it go right through the same exact areas it's going through now. So
Yeah.
still all over models. Way too early to um, go back and forth with that one. I've already seen um, 5 or 6 posts about it. But I'm not, I'm not gonna talk about it. I'm still on this one.
Yeah.
Because it's obviously the most concerning, the most crucial. We don't know jack squat about the next one. Like I said, where it goes, if it hangs around, if it could up and disappear. So
Yeah.
this one
Something
is
something
arming.
historic has happened with this one though. I From what I read this on a post. I take every social media post with a grain of salt. But apparently this is the first winter storm that hurricane hunters have flown into to get data on.
Cannot speak to that. I do not honestly know. I personally cannot speak to that. I don't have a clue. I know that they run routine missions. I know that they flew recently into one of the atmospheric river events. I want to say last month, out off the Pacific, just to gather some data. They fly routinely just to stay prepped and also gather data on some of the atmospheric events and some of the storms out west or wherever, just to kind of stay fresh and help gather data and help out the models. I mean, once they run and they drop their drop sons and stuff like that, it really helps get hone the models in. I don't know how close that you or anyone else paid attention to uh, run after run after run. There were some pages that were uploading run after run after run after run, hour by hour, which in my opinion does nothing but confuse people even more. And it annoys them and it agitates them, and there's no sense in watching run after run, all it's going to do is freak you out. If you're already freaked out about it, you don't need to watch run after run after run after run of models. Um, it's going to sit there and it's going to stew in the back of your mind, and it's going to cause you to just overload yourself with useless data that you already don't understand, and it's going to freak you out. But if you were one of the ones who, kept up with watching what was going on with the American and the European model, GFS and the Euro,
Yep.
once the hurricane hunters dropped their dropsons, it helped, majorly helped, align those models to where the Euro was so far, and we won't know, of course, exactly until it actually starts raining, snowing, sleeting, whatever it's going to do,
Yeah.
exactly where that low pressure was. But it seems to be that the Euro has been in control the entire time, because as soon as those dropsons were dropped, the GFS just
Yeah.
rose right north with it.
Yeah.
And it's still hanging, trying to hang south a ways. It's not doing a very good job. Um, for the longest time, the GFS, the Euro was well north of the GFS. The GFS at one point had, I saw about 16 inches of snow over us, as opposed to the Euro was way up by Hopkinsville, with the snow. The Euro was leaving us in the dust, and was like, nah, I'm good. I don't know who you guys are anymore. I'm gonna go to Kentucky. I'm gonna go to Kentucky. I like
Yeah.
Kentucky. I like
Get some fried
Kentucky.
chicken. Some
Yeah,
fried chicken.
Kentucky deserves the snow. Tennessee's gonna be, an ice storm, a mess. And the GFS was just like, I like Tennessee. Tennessee sounds like a good place to take a vacation. And the GFS just wanted, the GFS was just spitting astronomical numbers. Then you have the hurricane hunters come in and drop their dropsons, and the GFS was like, okay, Kentucky seems like a good place to, take a vacation.
Yeah. So
So
no, since you didn't get nothing but ice. You can have the ice. Kentucky's getting
yeah,
the snow.
and I mean, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Again, and like I've said, like I've maintained, it's still it's still gonna be, snow to freezing rain to snow, or to rain, back to freezing rain, back to snow. It's a whole mixed bag here. But further north is where totals your better totals come from, or your better totals go to. We got left, we got left in the dust. Further south got left in the dust. It's always been and always will be, with the winter storm system, where that low track rides, that low pressure track, where it rides, where it skirts, and we still don't know exactly where it's going to ride, where it's going to skirt. Again, and it always will be, just, like, you have to sit here and explain, models are just projections. Models are just educated guesses. They're not absolute. They never will be. Just like during severe storm season, you can post a NAM 3 kilometer run, an HRRR run, an RFFS run, whatever, that says that a storm is gonna run through Coweta, Oklahoma at 8 o'clock at night, and it's gonna run through the entire county, you know, and that storm forms at 7:24, whatever, heading right for Coweta, Oklahoma. And then at 7:30, whatever, it decides, I'm gonna head northeast,
And
you know,
y'all ain't
and
getting
it
nothing. Go away. Like y'all are headed.
and it,
Y'all we're
it
headed
and
step
it
out. No, go away.
right, and it misses. So it's not, they're projections. It's not exact science, and I feel like you a lot of things and a lot of this is that they people hone in and they see certain things, especially with snow. You have a whole bunch of people that they love snow. They want to see snow. Snow is great from inside the house where it's 75 degrees. Um, and they see these astronomical totals. They see, they want to see their snow, especially, and I get it, especially here in the South where um, we average 4 inches a year. Tennessee's annual average is 4 inches a year. And they want to see their snow, they this, they that. And then they see these pages posting astronomical totals and they get set on it.
Hmm.
They set their heart on it, and then something like this happens. The low track moves 400 miles north and they're lost. Absolutely lost because XYZ page is still sharing the damn GFS like it's gospel.
Yeah.
XYZ page is still hanging on to the GFS like it's gospel. Meanwhile, um,
You might not want to
W.
name any names, but I'll name one. I'll name a page. I'm not scared to say their page. It rhymes with snow, and he's called Blow
Oh,
Blowger.
that page everybody knows to block. But then you have then you have W page over here who's
Yeah.
caught on to the trend that the euro has taken off and is the model that is leading here and has the better solution, which if we're using the GFS, the euro, the Canadian's not really a reliable model, but if somebody's choosing to use the Canadian, and that's another issue, everybody has their preferences.
Yep.
Everybody has, their different preferences. Each model is a heartfelt model to everybody, blah blah blah, whatever. Um, unless they're using like the UK Met or the Icon or whatever to predict snow. Now, don't get me wrong, some of these models can sniff it out,
Yeah.
whatever. But they can do their work and sniff it out. But each person has their preference. But at some point, you have to realize that when one model is taking a trend, and if we're still using the GFS and the euro at that point, we're still in a medium range um we're still in a medium range,
Yeah.
prediction prediction area. And a lot of stuff, and we tell people all this, you've seen it, we tell people this all the time. At that range, stuff is bound to change. You're bound to see, shifts in the track, and you're bound to see ingredient changes, thermodynamic changes, and in the atmosphere, stuff is just, it's never a lock.
Yeah.
It's never, and that's still again part of the problem is you have so many people that just take it as ground truth that unfortunately have to realize and hang back that it's not ground truth yet. You have to realize that, especially at the 4, 5, 6 day range, there's gonna be changes. It's
Yep.
not a lock. It's not locked on. Nobody's locked in. And if they tell you they're locked in and they have the solution, I've got beachfront property in Kansas. I got beachfront property in Kansas that you can buy with monopoly money, and I'll take it.
Speaking of, you've seen this. I told you about it. Because I told you about it. Uh, A good personality in the weather community got shown on a certain sports podcast, the Pat McAfee show, Max Velocity, talking about the exploding trees and the winter storm coming. I'm like, we got Max Velocity on the Pat McAfee show before we got GTA 6 talking about winter storm. I'm like, what is going on? Is this the Matrix?
I kind of feel bad for him in a way. I love Max. I love Max to death. Um, Great dude, does good work, but at the same time, have you seen how the community decided to just drag him over that post? You probably have. You probably haven't, but
I've
I,
I've
I,
I've,
genu-
I've seen some comments.
I genuinely feel bad for him. They drug him over that post.
The dude has such a good soul. He tries to he doesn't try to be all serious all the time. He tries to have a little bit of fun with the weather he
He
posts.
does. He does, and he's genuinely so good. Um, and then they have a little fun at his expense for an outlandish post. And just drug him.
Yeah, they
You
do.
know,
So I have a question for you. As not only a storm chaser and someone who is in the weather community, but also as someone who works in retail and all. What do you think about some of these jobs during winter weather and all this that don't make a decision to close or do what they do until they see the weather doing what it's going to do?
this is the double-edged sword. On one side of the coin, I get it. You have a job to do. You have you're a business. You have a job to do. You
Hmm.
have money to make. You know, product to get out the door. Blah 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 blah. Whatever.
Yeah.
At the same time, I'm not doing it. I'm not. Depending on the situation, if especially if you know where your demographic is, the South, who can't drive when it's sunny and 75 outside, I'm not doing it. It's not happening, buddy. Because
Okay.
again, the South, and you can spend this whatever way you want to spin it, and it's spun like this in every state I've ever seen. We live in Alabama. They can't drive when it's sunny and 75. Oh, we live in Texas. They can't drive when it's sunny and 75. We live in the South. They can't drive when it's sunny and 75. Okay. So add a quarter of an inch of snow and an eighth of an inch of ice to that
Yeah.
equation.
You just throw it out the
And
window.
and somebody with a truck and four-wheel drive is coming to get you out of a ditch.
Or Jeep. If you see someone in the
Yeah,
Jeep with a winch, let them
yeah,
be.
yeah.
They're there for a reason.
Somebody with a Jeep is coming to get you out of a ditch. All because you were trying to survive and make a paycheck, which I get because we're all just trying to survive and make a paycheck. I got it. Me too.
Hmm.
But I'm not doing it. I'm not, because put it this way and put it lightly, um, you can't survive and make a paycheck
Nope.
if you don't make it
If
to
you
work,
if you're in
you
a
know?
ditch.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Because this is straight from the horse's mouth. This is my opinion. You know where I work. You know I work for a warehouse, a big time company, and this is what they told us this morning at 7 a.m. As of 7 a.m. this morning, we are still expecting everyone to show up to work for their scheduled shifts.
that's bold.
Hmm.
That's bold.
Yeah, and there's people I work with. that straight up said, "Fuck that, we're not coming in."
Yeah, that's bold. That's bold because I mean, your drive alone is 40 miles.
Yeah, one way.
Yeah, so that's very bold.
Hmm. And there's people I work with that come from Westmoreland. There's one lady, she comes from Westmoreland. I don't know if you know where Westmoreland is, but that's an hour drive
Yeah, I
from.
know where it's at.
And there's a and I used to live in Westmoreland. There's a hill, and it goes just like this. You have to go down a hill to get out of the city, and then you factor in ice and snow. You're not getting down. You're not. If you get down that hill, you're not getting back up it.
Well, I mean, and you have to think about too, and one of the I didn't realize it. I didn't realize it until I figured out what it was. And it wasn't until I started working where I was working, um, when I figured out what Tiger Hill was. Um, that's a big reason that they and they still mess around and find out here in Rutherford County. But
Hmm.
I mean, think about the buses that have to go up and down that and up and down that. Add some snow and ice to that,
Yeah.
and a bus full of kids where the bus driver is responsible
Yeah.
for all those children. When we were, I don't know if we were late teens or early 20s, but buddy of mine, me, and my brother just decided to do it in a Ford Ranger one day. That
Yeah.
was our first mistake, Ford Ranger. Um, and went up and just coasted down it. Just never, no gas, nothing like that, no gas. Um, Coasted down it and tried, keyword tried, to brake
Yeah.
before the stop sign and had lost the brakes. Didn't have any brakes until about, I think it was about 40 feet or so before the stop sign. Luckily, right at the stop sign, got
And
brakes.
where Walter Hill. You know where Walter Hill is, right? The Walter
Yeah,
Hill Dam.
yeah.
There's that little bridge you have to go over to go past the dam. That's gonna be one of the first thing the ice is over.
Yep, that's gonna be a lot of these bridges and overpasses. I mean, if it were, and it's not, of course, but if it were my decision, the one lane bridge off Joe B. Jackson, I'd close that for a couple days.
Yeah.
I mean, that would
What
be.
me and you we're not parents, but what do you think of, some of these schools aren't going to make their decision till Monday morning at 5 in the morning? Like, do
I
you think
mean,
they should make their decisions like before
you
that?
have a lot of smart parents out there that absolutely just won't. They'll make the decision for the kids and for themselves, and they won't send them. And they know what's in the best interest of their kids, and they'll do absolutely what's in the best interest of themselves and their kids. Because and it's they know undoubtedly, these school systems know undoubtedly what's coming. There's no denying it, and there hasn't been any denying it for the last at least 5 days. Um, and really the last 72 hours. The messaging has been strong, the messaging has been fierce, the messaging has been loud and widespread. There has been no doubting what's coming. Um, so the forecasting may have been, spotty and mixed messaging,
Yeah.
but the messaging that a winter storm, cold, and a mix of snow and ice was coming.
Yeah.
So if by some chance one of the school systems somehow didn't get that, they had to be somewhere out of the United States off the grid. And that's the only way possible.
Yeah. I've
Or
already seen
Yeah.
the page, the Tennessee's, the one that covers all the Tennessee school closings. They're already. I saw this too. Like, there's some schools that are dismissing early tomorrow.
Yeah, I've already seen several dismissing early tomorrow. Um, and yeah, I mean, in a way, I can't say I blame them. Um I've seen several model runs that keep it well out of our area until after school hours would dismiss. But can I blame them for being proactive? No, I will never personally blame a school system for being proactive during a weather event um whatsoever. And I always I don't always, I've done it once or twice, but I share a video occasionally because you have so many people that they laugh and they mock and make fun of all of these people, and it happens everywhere. All of these people that um are schools closed? Is school closing early when it comes to severe weather? Okay, not snow, but and they do it during winter weather too. But
Yeah.
when it comes to severe weather, and they mock at these people, they laugh at these people, and it's internet warriors hiding behind a screen because they can. That's all it is. But it irritates me when these people mock and laugh at these people, yet they haven't seen the March 2nd, 2012 Henryville, Indiana EF4 tornado. And then they can sit back and they can think, whoa, what if my kids were in that gym when that tornado hit? Or something to that effect. And there's several
Jop-
more.
Joplin.
Joplin, May 3rd, 1999, Moore, Oklahoma. Um, we
Well,
could
just
go with the
last year.
second. We could go with the second Moore tornado.
This was
Um,
just last year. The one I'm thinking about. It was in Wilson County. It was like right. I think it was right before school was supposed to start. It was like a EF0 or EF1 tornado hit
you
Wilson
know,
County right
there
before school was to start.
there there's so many synonymous videos out there that can show you exactly why parents are freaked out and asking about these school closures, this, that, and all the other, that only to be laughed at and mocked by people on the internet. Um, and just to me, the one that sticks out the most is the Henryville, Indiana EF4 from April 2nd, 2012, because they dismissed school, let them out, they get them on the bus. The bus driver leaves the school, gets however far away, and there it is.
Yeah.
There's the tornado. Bus
I don't know
driver
if you
has
ever. I don't know if you ever saw it. It's a movie. I know movies exaggerate a lot of stuff. I'm gonna say that right now on record. Weather movies exaggerate a lot of stuff, but I forget what it's called. They basically the movie just reminded me so much of Joplin because it was a tornado happened on the day of a high school graduation, and it was like right down the street from the high school in the movie, and you could just it just reminded me so much of Joplin because if you don't know about Joplin, it occurred during a high school graduation.
can't think of what you're talking about. I mean, was it like 2012, or was it the actual Joplin documentary? I can't think of what you're
No,
talking about.
it was a Hollywood movie, a bunch of Hollywood effects.
Oh, okay. But I mean, yeah, if you've never seen, that Henryville video, the bus has to turn around, go back to the school, and evacuate all those kids off the bus and get them into the school, only for the school to be hit,
Mm-hmm.
and the bus ends up on top of the school.
Yeah,
And you've got people that just mock these other parents for worrying about their kids during severe weather safety, and that's just one of the things that grinds my gears. I'll never understand it.
I'm gonna give this man. I'm gonna give the man his flowers. You know who I'm gonna talk about here in just a second when I say his name. He works for Wilson County Schools. Whenever there's winter weather that affects the schools, he makes a video talking about it, and he always tries to make it fun and but also he gets the information you need out to you. Bob Barker, he, he is a ray of sunshine when it comes to keeping schools and the kids informed and the parents informed of school closings in Wilson County.
I had to think about it for a second. I was like, who? Who are we talking about? I had to think about it for a second. But yeah, I trust that I in this situation that all the in really in every state, from um eastern New Mexico through Texas, through Oklahoma, Kansas, Arkansas, Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, Texas, Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas, Louisiana, Georgia. I mean, all the way up through the Northeast corridor there. Virginia, New York, Pennsylvania, Maryland. All those, I trust that all those school systems already know what's coming. They have a plan in place, and if in the unfortunate event that they don't, that you have these parents that are smart enough and strong-willed enough to have their own plan in place to either a keep those kids home, or you know be a program or whatever that is going to be in their best interest during inclement weather,
Yeah,
um that is going to protect the best interest of their child, and have the necessary cold weather gear, cold weather tools, just like we talked about at the beginning of this video, in the event of prolonged power outages, in the event of, um, some kind of incident or an accident at the establishment, whatever, they're going to have that kind of resource management available to take care of those kids.
yeah. Like I saw this. The one thing I'll say, don't use. You might disagree with me, but don't use a space heater. Don't use a space heater.
As I have a space heater in my bedroom.
And the weather aspect using. I see so many pages say don't use space heaters because those things are fire hazards.
They are fire hazards if they're plugged in properly or improperly. You can't plug them into a power strip.
Nope.
I've used a space heater for years. You have to plug it directly into the outlet.
Yep. I've got a little small heater I bought from Walmart. That I've had for like 3 winters now.
Yeah, you can't. They are fire hazards if you plug them into power strips. If you happen to be watching this live, or watch the recorded version, and you have a space heater and it's plugged into a power strip, plug it into the wall outlet. Do not leave a space heater plugged into the power strip, for the love of everything holy.
And if you have to leave the house, turn it off.
Yeah, if you have to leave the house, turn it off. Take it and put it 36 inches away from anything flammable. At least 36 inches.
That means clothes, propane.
Clothes, propane, garbage can, couch, bed, um, your dog's bed, your cat's bed, whatever. 36 inches at least.
Yeah.
Winter is one of the most prolific times for dwelling and structure fires, electrical fires.
Please don't make the fire department come out in this cold and just because you were did not know how to properly use a space heater.
Check your
They don't want to.
batteries.
They
Check
don't
your
want to be
batteries in your fire or in your smoke
smoke detector.
detector.
They don't want to be out in this cold no more than we do. So please make their life easier. Let
I
them
really
sit inside. Let them sit inside and eat their chili like firemen do.
I really don't want to be out, and I'd rather be in Florida right now.
And it's not sunny and 80 for you. It's not 80 degrees for you yet. So
It is in Florida. I looked the other day. While we're all suffering Saturday, it's gonna be 80 in Tampa.
I'm letting this be known on the record now because Nathan has tried to say this before. This is not my fault.
What's not your fault? The cold weather.
Yeah, the cold and the snow. It's not my fault.
I can't blame this one on you.
Even though a month
You did.
ago,
You did just come back from Canada. Yeah, I can't blame this one on you because it was a month ago.
yeah, if this would have been like right after I came back, you like, oh, if you want to blame someone, go blame this guy.
I'll figure out a way to if the next one materializes, I'll figure out a way to blame it on you though. I'll
See,
figure it out.
no, don't blame it on me. Don't blame it on me. Not my fault.
I'll figure it out somehow.
I'm not in Canada, so if it comes from Canada, it's not my fault.
Now,
Speaking of Canada, the snow in Canada right now is crazy.
yeah, and we're gonna keep getting Arctic blast after Arctic blast after Arctic blast to reinforce the cold air for at least the next 2 weeks from Canada through the first, at least. And hear me out again. Here, if you're watching, hear me out. At least through the first week of February. So, and that's as far out as temperatures are reliable.
Yeah, I was
So
seeing a post on social media where they're saying the groundhog and Mother Nature need to figure this out because we're tired of this.
here, very tired of this already. I know
And
that I know that the closer we get to my birthday, it's almost over. It's the middle of February and it's almost over. So we're getting there slowly. It's crawling at a snail's pace.
it'll be
And
your time to shine.
we just got to, yeah, finally, cuz I can't do this. I this just this first one has taxed me. Um Winter weather is, and even I shared that post from NWS Nashville, and you can see that even they, at the point that I had shared it from them, that they weren't putting out totals, they weren't, that they were still trying to you know come up with XYZ, that when I was talking earlier, when I said that a whole one degree can mess things up, that's the truth. A whole 1 degree in the atmosphere and up to 10,000 feet can literally mess things up. So when you're trying to figure things out, when you're reading models, when you're observing atmospheric soundings, which a lot of people, I don't think that they realize, they see these photographs in the spring for potential tornado development. There's a potential tornado development, this, that, and all the other. Photographs, skew T log P charts are also used in. So those skew T log P charts that are used in the winter are also, or that are used in the spring, are also used in the winter to help you decipher, if there's going to be a warm layer at X feet above in the atmosphere to turn your snow into freezing rain, turn your snow into sleet. If there's dry air, so that your neighbor 5 miles down the road gets 6 inches, and because there's a dry air above you, you don't get any snow at all. Blah blah blah. This, that, and all the other. Those atmospheric soundings help decipher what may or may not happen in your neck of the woods. Where'd you go, Mike? Hmm. Mike left me all alone, all by myself. Mass chaos. I could compete. I could consume. I could present here all by myself.
Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. I was having some technical difficulties.
Yeah, you left me all by myself, my guy.
Sorry, my phone was overheating for a second.
Oh, all good.
Uh, what were we saying? What were we saying? Uh,
I was talking about atmospheric soundings.
yeah. Well, I was gonna save this for the very end, but I don't know if you noticed it throughout the episode, but the background, I don't know if you can see it or not. The snowmen and all.
I honestly wasn't even paying attention to the background.
Yeah, I put that to mess with you because I know you don't like winter.
I'm glad you finally pointed that out because it's been almost an hour and I just looked at the background.
Snowmen, just for you, my
Why
guy.
is my
Just for you.
computer why is my computer going off finally? Okay, whatever. I did. I just looked at the background and it's been an hour.
Mm-hmm. Snowman. Do you want to build a snowman?
No, Elsa needs to fuck off.
uh, that reminds me of it. I'm gonna close this out with some comedy. There's another TikToker or someone I saw. You're saying, "Mother, the temperature went from like 70 to 30. It's like it saw a state trooper."
Overused joke.
And then the guy said, shit, what he said? He said, "If you have beef with Mother Nature, please sort out with her and leave us out of it. We want no part of this."
I'm down with that because whoever pissed off Elsa needs to apologize. Like seriously needs to apologize. It's too late, but they need to apologize before whatever's possibly coming next happens.
It does. So what are some what are some other don't? I know we talked about what to do with space heaters and what not to do. Are there any other don'ts? I know we talked about the generators and all that, what to do, but are there any other don'ts?
Not that I can run right off the top of my head, other than don't pull a me like I did like when I was younger and go outside in shorts and tank top. You'll catch
I'll
hypothermia.
I'll say this. I don't know if it's ever happened. I don't know. I haven't heard any stories of it happening to anyone. I've seen some people where like their power has gone out because it's been so cold and there's been ice that causes a blackout, and they go get in their car and turn their car on and sit in their car forever because it's the only source they can get heat from.
Yeah, but you have to think about too, that's only if it's in a garage setting, because if it's in a garage setting and the garage is closed, that's what traps the carbon monoxide. If they're outside, they're fine.
Yeah. So
Um,
if you're in a garage, make sure you at least open the garage up.
I do have a post on it's not extremely updated, but I do have a post on my Storm Chaser page that has available a list of available warming shelters if there is a need for them. If your power goes out and there's a need for warming shelters, I do have a post on my Storm Chaser page for warming shelters if there is that need again, because I know that um, unfortunately the risk for power outages is fairly high in
Or
a decent amount of areas.
or if you know anyone in the homeless community, make sure you can point them in those directions as well.
Yes, and a lot of churches and shelters will be opening up their doors to act as warming shelters during this prolonged period of cold stretch.
And if you haven't yet, if you want more access to weather information from Nathan Reno, aka Storm Chaser Nathan Reno, Willy Weather, make sure you scan that QR code in the top left hand corner, and it'll take you right to his Instagram weather page.
I didn't even realize that's what that QR code did. I just thought it was for the stream.
So it'll take all of the people who view this now or watch it back recorded. If they scan it with their phone, it'll take them right to your Instagram weather page.
Okay. Uh,
So, is there any last minute tips or Just anything you want to say to the people to kind of ease their minds going into this weather over the next 3 days?
Not, I mean, we're gonna get through it. We've been through it before. Ice storm in '94. Well, y'all been through it before. I was born in '94. You know, and then it, I don't like comparing weather events. It could be close, but I mean, just breathe, relax your shoulders. Keep, do things that you normally would do. Don't stress too hard about it. I know a lot of people are already stressed about it. It's unfortunately something that can't be changed. You were already there. It's already, it's coming no matter what we do. It's not like we can sit there on the border and blow, fans away. So buy those, heaters, buy propane heaters, electric heaters on the off chance your power doesn't go out. Again, that risk is up there, but it's not, it's
We
not.
have a we have a
Hmm?
question. We have a question from a viewer.
Okay.
It's from it's from Tina Barley 2658. So my husband drove across country to move our son. I don't know how to do the generators, but we have a motor home in the driveway to move me and the dogs into. I know how to run these. I know how to run those generators. Am I safe to move into it?
Yeah, absolutely. You would, I mean, if that's where you're most comfortable, go ahead and do that. If you know how to run the generator from there, um, and that's your best option, go ahead and do it. Just remember, like was discussed earlier, keep the generator outside. Do not move that generator inside the motorhome. You do not want those toxic carbon monoxide fumes inside the motorhome.
And
So
for any viewers that are doing their grocery shopping today or tomorrow, please don't hoard all the bread. Please don't hoard all the milk. Leave some for people because some people are just needing to buy the things they usually would buy if they're living paycheck to paycheck. Don't hoard it all. Don't be that person.
this really isn't going to be, the off chance of realistically people being without power for 3, 4, 5, 6 days isn't terribly high. Um, it's there. It's a possibility, yes, but it's not 99%, 90%. It's there, yes, but the off chance of you being without power for, a week is not high. Um, you could be without power for 1, 2 days, and in that case, um, you know, unfortunately, some food's gonna go bad. Yeah, you're gonna lose it, but you just have to manage through it. You can, and I've again personal experience. I've done it. You can buy a cooler, or you can buy a cooler, pack it down with ice, put the meat, the perishables at the bottom, pack it down with a layer of ice at the bottom, put things in the middle, pack it down with a layer of ice at the top. I've done it. I've seen it work. Tried and true. Keeps the stuff frozen or at least half thawed to where it'll stay good until the power comes back on. If it comes back on in a reasonable amount of time, I have seen that work. I've done it. Been there. Um,
Uh, you're very welcome, Tina. I'm glad Nathan could answer your question for you.
but again, the probability of being without power for a super long time, 4, 5, 6 days, isn't terribly high. Again, it's there, but It's not super high. Um, it's We're looking at Friday, Saturday, Sunday event, then hopefully getting back above freezing by Wednesday. For most people, some people, Oklahoma, Texas, may get back above freezing on Tuesday.
This will be my last question to you. I kind of asked something similar to it earlier, but you going back to the question about jobs and you know my commute I make. Do you think by like Wednesday it'd be good to go to work? Because my schedule is Sunday to Wednesday.
I'd have to I'd have to look and see. I don't know. I don't know exactly where temperatures are going to be. I know that the thought process right now is that we hopefully get above freezing on Wednesday.
Hmm.
Um, excuse me. I know single digits Monday and Tuesday. I know that again the thought process is hopefully above freezing for us on Wednesday, which will give way to some melting. And the sun, as long as it's out, does do its job with some melting, whether we're above freezing or not. Believe it or not, the sun does do its job with some melting, whether we're above freezing or not. But with being below freezing,
It'll refreeze.
sun goes down, it refreezes.
Yeah.
So I would have to look to tell you that answer if I don't specifically. I haven't looked at temperatures to see if we're going to be above freezing Wednesday to see if there would be even a marginal amount of melting from what we do actually end up seeing in terms of snow, sleet, ice, freezing rain, whatever ends up falling in our neck of the woods.
Yeah.
But again, like I said, I know that the thought process is Wednesday.
I know because it's still dark when I go to work on in the morning. So like I know it's probably gonna still be black ice Wednesday morning. That's why.
Oh, yeah, that would be, I mean, that would be a given, especially like we spoke about bridges and overpasses and stuff like that,
Yeah.
where you have a lot of shade. So,
Yeah. Well, I want to thank Storm Chaser Nathan Reno for coming on tonight and sharing the information he has on this upcoming winter storm and giving advice and answering questions for me and viewers. And like Nathan said, we're gonna get through this. This is not the first winter storm Middle Tennessee has had. It will not be the last.
it unfortunately will not be the last. So, but I do appreciate you having me on. It's always a pleasure, Mike, and we'll holler at you on the next one, buddy.
All right. And for everyone else, make sure you watch this. If you didn't watch this live, make sure you watch it on the replay and make sure you catch us where you can catch us. We're out of here.